And if you're doing all this stuff, if you're paying attention to how you're being triggered and how you're stopping the pattern when you get triggered and changing the thoughts and language that you're using in your mind towards a new direction, you are going to move faster into the next phase. And that phase of changing is like the Jekyll and Hyde phase, and that's another phase. It could last like a year. It can last a long time. We humans, we don't just shift around really super fast, and because we don't do it, we lose patience with ourselves and we give up. We give up in the sparky phase when it's like, oh, forget it, I keep getting triggered, I can't, we give up there. Or we get into phase 2 where we're Jekyll and Hyde, where we're showing the new expression, having experiences with the new expression, with a new pattern that doesn't include that old thing at all. And we're doing great, and then all of a sudden, boosh, the old pattern will come up, and we'll indulge in it. And we call it falling off the wagon, and we feel like we failed, and we call it relapse, and all these different things. But what it really is the fading out of the old pattern and the fading in of the new pattern. And it's kind of like a strobing thing. It's like a strobe light. The new thing is blinking in, and it'll blink in more and more and more, and faster and faster and faster, and more, till at a certain point, and you'll know it, you're done. You've had your last fit of self-pity. You've smoked your last cigarette. And it might have been you smoked your last cigarette a year ago, but now you're in a place where, yeah, it crosses your mind. The triggers, they come up. But what you've essentially done is, way back in that first phase, when it was all sparky, and you were being triggered like crazy, and then you use that to stop the pattern, you actually re-triggered yourself while you're doing that. So every time now a trigger comes up, all the new behavior gets triggered. You've re-triggered the behavior. So old triggers won't affect you anymore, and you'll feel that. Like you might want to smoke a cigarette, but you're not going to. You see the whole picture. You're like, I don't want to have to quit again. I don't want what comes with it. I just got a little nervous and I got triggered, something happened in my life and caused me to want that cigarette. So you do feel it, and you still see it, and it's still available to you, of course. You can always go pick the old habit up again, and it'll kick in. It's got memory, but you don't have to. And in this last phase of change, this is kind of how you're in that place where you're just not going back. You have no interest. You are far away from that path now, and you've gone so much deeper into this other new expression that you can actually feel stable and secure in it. And not only that, you can look at people who might be suffering with addictions or habits to whatever it is, work, vacuuming, depression, self-righteousness. Somebody that is where you've been, you can empathize with them in a way that other people can't. And you can, if they ever ask you, because they know that you got out of it too, you can actually say to them, this is how I got out of it. And you're a human, so if they're a human too, which I'm sure they are, if you're talking to them and communicating with them, they can test that. They can repeat your experiment and see if they get the same results in their life. And that is part of the information that we like to share the most. If someone's in a hole, if someone's hurting, if someone is feeling pain and sorrow and suffering, and we know something, we know a way out of that hole, we want to share that information. And we want to say, I know what that's like, because that was I was there and I had similar experiences to you. Not the same, because everyone's got their personal experience, but just relate. Or even just be beside the person there without judging them, and just let them know that you understand that position, you understand not wanting to be there, and that you can give them hope that there's a way out that they're in charge of with their own free choice.